In the last week, the Dems in the House have put forward their bill to recognize DC as the 51st state. Today, the White House has formally declared its support for the House bill as well, saying it would provide the residents of the district with long overdue full representation in Congress, with the Office of Management and Budget putting out a statement saying establishing the state of Washington, Douglas Commonwealth as the 51st state will make our union stronger and more just. Washington, D.C. has a robust economy, a rich culture, and a diverse population of Americans from all walks of life who are entitled to full and equal participation in our democracy. So that's a few different reasons for why the OMB believes that DC should be a state, recognition of its important historical position, the people that live there, the sort of foundational American concept of no taxation without representation. On the other hand, the Republicans would counter, no. Why? It would probably help the Democrats or whatever. So it is being pitched as a complete non-starter, Charles. Actually, I don't know what your position on DC statehood is, but right now Biden has weighed in. He supports it, so it automatically becomes a higher profile thing.
I'm for it. I've worked on Capitol Hill. I lived in DC before, and I think that it is a very, very stark example of American hypocrisy to have a city literally where is the capital of your democratic state and the people who live there are not represented in government. It to me was just the basis of the highest level of contrast ever. And I've heard all the arguments about DC being a federal city and sort of existing outside of the realm of regular America in that regard. And I understand how all of that came to be. However, what I also understand is that DC is a city that has a significant population of Black people and other marginalized groups and communities. And it is not by accident that for many years, these cries have gone unheard and unattended to, and that people have made this a non-starter. Consider who lives in DC, and consider what the conversation would be like if the people who live in DC now did not. And when I say that, what I'm referring to is the influence of gentrification in different parts of DC. As DC has become less Black, this conversation has become louder. When this is not a new conversation for anyone who has followed the news, Eleanor Holmes Norton has talked about this literally for decades. Marion Barry, when he was alive, the former mayor of DC, was something that he pushed for literally for decades, right? The CBC was behind this for decades. This is not a new discussion. What is new is that the demographics of DC have begun to lighten, shall we say. And so now I think there is a greater sense of acceptance around what that could mean and what that could look like. And so people are more engaged for the conversation. It's not a surprise to me that conservatives and Republicans are not interested in that discussion because it doesn't benefit them. However, I do think that this is also similar, not exactly the same, but similar to John Conyers' unending fight to get Congress to study or pay for or fund for the study of reparations. And that the more you continue to beat at the door around an issue, the more of a chance that you may have to actually make some progress at some point, even if it's not something that you see. So for years and years and years, this had been a discussion. It was a non-starter, couldn't get any real support outside of the CBC and literally Eleanor Holmes Norton. And now we're seeing that it's expanded. And I think there are a number of different examples of that. Conversations about reparations, right? Conversations, like all of these things are things that we have not seen this type of progress in our national dialogue around before, and it only underscores the need to continue to keep pushing.
Yeah. Well, what you just gave was a nuanced historical argument for why potentially it should be a state and the path, the multi-decade path to get it to be there. As I alluded to, the Republican response is, you just want it because there's going to be 2 more Democrats.
See, John, this is why you bring me on the show for the Dragons. It's like nuanced historical argument on 420 while people are getting blazed and stoned out of their mind. I'm sure this sounds like the best melody in their ears that they've ever heard.
I think we've seen the birth of nuanced historical dragon, actually.
Nuanced dragon.
Yeah, but like I said, the Republicans just say, no, you want more Dem senators. Okay, so my response to that would be, and this is not gonna be nuanced or historical. You guys say you are, maybe this is historical. You guys say that you are the party of personal responsibility and the bootstraps and that frontier spirit of just getting her done and all that. So here's the thing. So you look at DC and you say they generally vote Democratic. And so presumably were you to make a mistake, they would vote for the Democrats. Here's an idea. Take some notes. Come up with some ideas that would appeal to the people that live there. And then maybe they'll vote for you. How about that? How about do something that they would like? And then maybe they'll vote for you. That's not even a part of the conversation. The idea that the Republicans might try to appeal to the people that live there. The people of DC are dead to them. There's no chance whatsoever that they could ever come up with a single idea that would be appealing to them. And that's not me saying that. That is their behavior screaming it. Same for Puerto Rico, hypothetically as well. It is just not even a possibility. There is no world that these people would ever want anything to do with us Republicans. That is what they're saying. So they don't want to say that though. So they have to come up with some argument. So they have come up with one, and it is no, it's too small. DC is too small. And that is kind of a ridiculous argument, although what if it could be a little bit more immediately ridiculous? Well, they found a way. Here is Representative Mace earlier today making this case.
Certified. We're seeing it now with DC statehood. DC wouldn't even qualify as a singular congressional district, and here they are. They want the power and the authority of being an entire state in the United States, and they want that power.
Okay, so that is Representative Mace, as well as Representative Liz Cheney to her right, and someone I don't know, it doesn't matter. So she's saying, DC, you tiny little baby of an area. You got no people, you got no right. You got balls, I guess, that you want political representation with so few people. We'd never allow that in America, right? Liz Cheney, right? Representative from a state that has 150,000 less people than the District of Columbia.
Right.
And that's the thing. The easy point, as a lot of people have pointed out, is that DC is already bigger than Wyoming. It's also bigger than Vermont. It has 25,000 less people than the entire state of Alaska, which is big on trees and I think puffins, not so much people. It's only got 50,000 less people than North Dakota. All states that Republicans accept deserve political representation. So again, maybe to tie our points together, Charles, maybe it's not about the number of people. Maybe it's about the sort of people that's more their problem.
Yeah, I just did a quick search. There's a list of states with a population less than little, small, tiny DC. Wyoming, Vermont, Alaska, North Dakota, South Dakota, and yeah, they're estimating that Delaware is like on par.
All states that get senators, by the way.
Yeah, so like, that argument is just complete. And I'm actually surprised that people's communications folks have not really considered like, hey, listen, you're about to advance an argument that doesn't make sense. But maybe that's too much like right. But at the same time, it just doesn't bode well in terms of the type of politics and dog whistles that we have been seeing from the right for a very long time. In terms of, again, when the last time I was here, you may recall, I talked a bit about the difference between white supremacy and white nationalism. This is white nationalism. That's what this is. This is white nationalism. DC has a significantly high population of Black and brown people, but specifically Black people, right? And so the idea that we would give them more access to government when they currently have less access to government is problematic for a lot of people, because those people fundamentally believe and ideologically believe that those are not people who are supposed to be participating in America's political processes, because they're not intended to serve that.
Yeah.